And I'll be honest, the community of Bonnaroo is unlike any other music festival I've been to.
Yep.
I've been to Coachella, been to Lollapalooza, Shaky Knees. I've been to Music Midtown, a bunch of other smaller festivals here in Georgia. And the community of Bonnaroo is just something genuinely so special. I mean, the people there are so full of trinkets and gifts and beautiful ideas. And so just going to Bonnaroo, the amount of stickers I got in the first book was like, oh my gosh, I think I even have it in here in this fun facts page, how many stickers were placed.
Hey, welcome back to the What Podcast. I'm Barry, that's Brian, that's Russ, or Lord Taco, as we like to call him. Guys, I'm going to go ahead and save you the embarrassment. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I know the haircut is awesome. I did it about an hour and a half ago myself.
What? You cut your own hair?
Yourself?
Had Kelly do a little trim around the ears, but man, I'm happy with this one.
You don't have a Flowbee, right?
It's kind of.
Anybody know what the
Flowbee
is?
but it's
I know
the
what
old
the Flowbee
kind
is.
your dad used to use when he gave you the burr haircuts.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of people out there going, the hell is a Flowbee? Look it up.
There's also a lot of old people like me who knew if you had siblings, you wanted to go first, because if you went last, that thing got hot.
Yeah.
It would burn the crap
shit.
out of your head.
Luckily, I didn't have to deal with that a lot.
Anyway, how are you guys doing?
Doing well.
Yeah.
Looking forward to this January being over with. We're almost there. Just because I'm looking forward to the spring, and there's no other reason than that. So we'll be there before you know it.
Yeah, so we got a couple of things today. Not a lot of news, but we have a guest that I'm really excited about.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Amazing story. We talk on this show all the time about the many tentacles, if that's the right thing about Bonnaroo. Everybody has a story. Everybody's different.
It sparks creativity, you know. It really does. Somebody, and you'll hear more from Caleb, our guest here shortly, about, you know, you can show up on the farm and not have any. I don't want to say not have charisma, or as the first word that came to my head, but not have a lot of motivation to be really eccentric and in with a lot of different people. It's very intimidating. It can be. It's very common, and Bonnaroo unlocks that out of people.
Well, I've said it, and you and I have said it. It changed my life, it changed Caleb's life.
It sounds hyperbolic, but it's true. It's a life-changing event. And, you know, for me, it was 20 years ago, but it has, meaning when that first click, but there's waves of that. I can talk to you about 07, 08. I can talk to you about 14, 13, 15. I can talk to you about 2-3 years ago. And there's something different in every one of those that is some kind of unlock that, whether it's small or big, it never will cease to amaze me and inspire me even more.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's not just, it changed my life professionally. It introduced me to U2. I wouldn't know U2. Certainly
Very
wouldn't
true.
be spending, an hour every week with you two.
Wouldn't be putting up with y'all dumbasses all this time if it weren't for that.
And so Caleb's story, you'll hear about it. He created the Bonnaroo Yearbook, which is really, really cool. And we'll get into that. But Brian, you sent me a thing, Hinterland.
Yeah, I want to hear about a show you went to here before we get done here in a minute.
Right.
But let's start with that though, since we're there, because I was just looking at this last night. This Hinterland, it is in St. Charles, Iowa, which is just 30 miles south of Des Moines. If you just want a quick, look in your head of a triangle on the map, you got Kansas City, Chicago, St. Louis, St. Charles. So right around there in the Midwest, getting a little further. We call Ohio the Midwest. This is actually getting a little further west. I'd say that about because we're talking temperature and weather.
Right.
And so their lineup was just released. The headliner is Tyler, the Creator, of course. Casey Musgraves, Lana Del Rey. It's kind of a boutique festival. Smaller lineups, probably in the city. Didn't go that far to look at it as far as a city festival. But what they have done, it's in August, they're going to offer refunds. I mean, do you see this, Taco, by chance? That they're
Yeah,
going to
I
offer
did.
refunds if it gets to 90 degrees
90.
or
Yeah.
like if I just stop there like, okay, there's a story, move along, you'd be like, whoa, back up, man.
I know,
What are you
right?
talking about?
Yeah.
And this was just announced in the last couple days.
Clutch the pearls.
I
My
mean,
God.
I'll read this real quick from their official site, just a short portion of it. If on Tuesday, 7/29 at 10 a.m. Central, if weather.gov has the temperature above, now I'm paraphrasing a little bit, 90 degrees or above for August 1st, 2nd, or 3rd, you can request a not a discount, a refund.
A daily refund.
Refund on your tickets if it gets 90 or above. Now, it does seem like you can manipulate that. Hey, weather.gov, say 89, please.
Right.
But this is in response to last year. I watched a news report, a local Iowa news report on this. 105 on the heat index at last year's fest. I'm guessing, I didn't go this far, they must be milder than that most years. Now, here down in Tennessee, in August,
Yeah.
90's just getting going.
That's a Monday.
Yeah. I was going to say, could you imagine if Bonnaroo offered this? 90 degrees, it would be every day.
Nobody would go. Well,
Yeah.
lots of people would go, but plenty of people would consider not doing it. So they must get milder temperatures, but that's still only 800 miles from us. So for the fact of them to get to 90 seems like it could be quite possible. But last year was an extreme case. People they had water line issues, all the same stuff that a boutique festival would have. Think our Moon River here, think Railbird in Kentucky, those kinds of festivals. And they had just a flooding of social media hate and anger, and most of it was probably valid, and much of it was just people trying to make a lot of noise. Either way, this is their response, and
Yeah.
I mean,
That's what's interesting to me is that they had to think about it. I mean, like, apparently it was a big enough a deal that they had to have a policy.
yeah, I guess last year's
what's
headliner
interesting
was
to me.
Hosier, Noah Khan, and Vampire Weekend for the year last year with the heat that we're talking about specifically. Chapel Roan. Chapel Roan was on there just like every other festival last year. She was lower down, and that swelled crowds, and it tested the infrastructure. And so it wasn't just heat, it was water, it was lines.
Sure.
And so
But
people were pissed.
It was an issue enough that they've had to have this policy. That's
I
what's
know.
fascinating.
Yeah.
90
same
degrees.
festival,
So please
they've
buy
also
your
had
ticket,
issues.
and if it's bad, we'll refund your. That's fascinating. So
Well,
I
they've
guess
also
they're-
had
Sorry, go ahead.
They've also had issues with rain and flooding really bad, and the way their campground was set up, it was kind of at the bottom of the hill, so it got all the runoff. And I remember talking to Ada, who went either last year or the year before, and she said her tent just got flooded. She had to leave the campground and just go get a hotel because you couldn't stay in it. So
I didn't see that part of it.
yeah, and so they've dealt with issues like this before, and I believe they made some changes for their campground to actually move it to a more place where it's not going to get as flooded if they get rain.
It's not
So
put it below sea level.
That's exactly. So they clearly have a history of having issues that could be terrible. Could be a festival killer, but they've taken steps to try to resolve those. And I guess this is all kind of the same thing. They want to keep this thing going. They want people to feel safe and comfortable. So
they probably just wanted to come up with one kind of policy that would be a little radical to make you think we are taking the problems we've had in the past seriously to the point where if you just don't want to go now, no questions asked. So interesting idea. Also, if it is just 91 and you wanted to go and it was going to be 87, you're still going. So they're going to hope that's actually not going to be something that people take them up on. Maybe it's a stroke of brilliance of marketing and people think that they're doing the right thing, and maybe they are exactly doing the right thing. I don't know. Just wild because I've never seen anything like it.
I know that exactly. We'll have to hear from our Iowa correspondent.
Yeah, we'll get a hold of
Parker.
that guy.
Parker will reach out here pretty soon. We'll get some more information. So
Right.
Definitely.
I think Chloe has also been to that festival too.
Chloe's been to every festival.
Well, yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah,
She's got to try all the fare, right?
she's
she's
got to have all the food. Yeah,
You can't have a handle that says "shit I eat at festivals" and not be there.
that's a good point.
All right. So you were going to ask me about the show that I went to.
Yeah, I saw everybody at our local theater. We have two of them. One I like more is Under, and Barry, I think you're in the same boat as me on that one as far as just overall the what we love in the city more. The smaller one of our old theaters is under construction, but our bigger one, I saw people posting all over social media the other day, and the memorial was full.
It was
and a lot of times they have the upstairs curtained off because it's a bigger room, and it was totally open. I'm like, what am I? How am I getting so old and not noticing what's going on in my own city? And Barry, you're there, and others, and it was the Martin and Martin show, right?
Yeah, Steve Martin and Martin Short at Memorial Auditorium. I saw our buddy Denson Lee, who works there now.
Formerly of our
Camp Nut Butter veteran, I think founder actually.
One of the mayor for a little bit. He got the
yeah. They had over 3,000 people there for that show. It
looked like it.
I saw their first. I mean, first of all, Steve Martin. Look, if you started playing any one of his 3 records right now, I could go word for word. I mean, I was that 14, 15, 16-year-old kid who just adored Steve Martin. I think Martin Short can be as funny as any human being on the planet. My wife and I saw their show 6-7 years ago when it first started. It was funny, but and I didn't think about it until after this one. That first one was kind of like the same joke told 35 different ways for an hour and a half. You know, it's the same. Hey, you're this and you're the, picking on each other.
Yeah.
The other night was amazing. They've tightened that thing up, and the was it Steel Canyon Rangers? That's the band, right?
That's his backing band.
God, they're so good.
This was a musical and comedic blend.
So what they did was they opened the show with about 10 minutes of video clips from their movies, from Saturday Night Live, from Jiminy Glick, everything, and it just set the tone because it was so funny. Everybody knows who.
Well, it's nostalgia, and it's all stuff you remember, so that's a good prime in the pump.
Yeah, the King Tut. I mean, just one after another.
I'm more of a Martin Short guy because he's closer to my generation of comedy.
Yeah,
I like them both, but
Yeah.
Martin Short was I liked a little bit more. I like them both. But I've always wondered: is it more driven to a belly laugh or a performance?
Great question, because the first show was not belly laugh. That's what we expected and didn't get. It was more stories, more back and forth, with the occasional quip, picking on each other.
Sure.
The other night was a belly laugh every 60 seconds.
Really?
Not kidding.
Hate I missed it.
They back and forth, and then they would do some musical. They had Jeff, I can't think of his last name, but the piano player for Fallon, maybe one of the late night guys is their piano player.
Yeah.
And so they did bits with that, and they, a lot of the bits you've seen. They did a little Jiminy Glick bit. They come out. Martin Short comes out in a kilt, and with the big ginormous guy who picks him up and plays him like he's a bagpipe.
Yeah.
We've seen that.
Yeah.
But it was still funny. And then in the middle, Steve comes out with his banjo, picks a little, and then the band comes out, and they do 15 minutes.
So it's a little of both.
It's everything, and it moved so quick.
Did Martin Short wear the fat suit for Jiminy Glick?
Yeah. He comes out. Steve comes out holding him. He's like a puppet.
I almost tried. I almost tried to impersonate the Jiminy Glick thing, but that would have not gone well.
I mean,
Tell me what you.
yeah. Look, I mean, two
Did
of
he
my
do any
favorite.
Ed Grimley?
A little bit.
Ed Grimley.
A little bit.
That's what I remember.
But two of the funniest lines, three actually, ever. The Jiminy Glick, when he asked Mel Brooks, "What's your big beef with the Nazis?" is maybe the funniest line I've ever heard.
Man. That's
and the
cool.
other is Steve Martin, and they used it in this when he introduced Carl Reiner at like the Kennedy Center Awards. You know, they're honoring Carl Reiner, and Steve comes out and says, "I could go on for hours talking about Carl Reiner and his impact on comedy and me." And he said, "But this seems like neither the time nor the place."
Oh my God, that's funny.
Isn't it funny? It kills me.
It's so simple. That's why it's so good.
Genius. And then the other is
That's serious. That's hilarious.
and when the two met was for Three Amigos, which I do not find funny.
I don't
at
like
all.
that movie at all.
I can't stand
What?
that movie.
Don't like it at all.
Oh,
But apparently Martin had to go to Steve's house to get the script, and that's when they first met. And he walked in and he's looking around and he's like, "Look at all this artwork. You've got Picasso's. This is amazing. How did you afford it? Because I've seen your work."
Boy, we could repackage that one to
Yeah. So it was that kind
to a
of
lot
thing.
of people we know, to
Over
ourselves.
and over, but it was so good. But yeah.
I've seen what you do. How the hell do you afford any
I've
of
seen
this
your
stuff?
work.
Usually
really-
you cannot, not you, usually one cannot recreate a comedy show to like in this setting. Like, let me tell you some of the things they said, and it usually
Right.
falls flat. Those hit. Those
Oh
hit.
my God.
I like that.
Yeah, they're so funny.
I think that's a testament to how simple yet effective the comedy that both of those guys do.
Yeah. The what's your big beef with the Nazis just kills me.
That's
That's one of
hilarious.
those I'll wake up in the middle of the night and just start laughing. So it was really good, and I'm glad you brought it up. And for anybody who's on the fence, if they're coming to anywhere close, go see it. It's a great 2-hour show.
Well,
Really,
I
really
wanted
good.
to ask because I figured the answer would be good, and I was bummed that I let that one just slide right underneath me. Didn't notice
Well-
it was happening. I knew it was coming, then forgot.
Well, I mean, I'm not kidding. The first time we saw him, it was for me. It was I'm going because he's my heroes. But
Yeah.
the show was meh.
Were you on the
Just when
fence
the
about
other-
going again, or was there
Kinda.
no doubter? Yeah.
Kinda. In fact, my wife didn't go. She was like, I didn't.
Already
didn't-
saw this movie.
didn't laugh. And I next morning she was like, "What was different?" I said, "It's just
Yeah,
so
everything.
tight and so much better. It's just nonstop. So it's really, really good." But yeah, it was funny. So. All right. What other news? Oh, we got contest. So we're gonna play some of our entries.
yeah. We could probably do that after the.
Yeah, we'll do that on the tail end.
Yeah.
Why don't we get to
All right.
Caleb, and then we'll wrap up with that,
Let's
and
do
we'll
that.
go from there.
Let's listen to Caleb. This is a great interview.
Yeah, the Bonnaroo Yearbook. What is it?
Yeah.
and how does it
And,
go? Where's it going? We'll find out.
If you normally just listen to the podcast, you probably want to watch this one either on YouTube or Spotify. It's very visual because he shows a lot of pages from the book. He sent a lot of pictures over to put up. So yeah, you're gonna want to see it.
That's a great point. I'm glad you thought of that. Here we go. Hey, there he is. There's Caleb. How are you,
How's it
man?
going? Good. How are you?
Welcome to the show. Thanks for
Thank
doing
you very
this.
much. Yeah, of course. I'm happy to be here.
Especially, I think Brian reached out to you, like 10 minutes ago?
It
Yeah,
wasn't.
basically, it was like last night, yesterday.
It
Yeah.
wasn't long. As buttoned up as we might seem, every now and again we're scrambling. We have no idea what we're going to do next. So thank you very much, Caleb, for joining
I'm
us.
excited to be here. I'm back in the cabin.
I appreciate it very much. And you, as we've said, represent, as so many of us, this many tentacles that is Bonnaroo, right? I mean, this thing has gotten into our lives in so many different ways, and you're about to share with us a whole nother way. What is it you do?
So I do a project called the Bonnaroo Yearbook. This is a little sneak peek of what it is here. And essentially, what I do is I go around Bonnaroo with a leather bound journal, something like this or something like this. And I go up and I say, "Hey, would you like to sign the Bonnaroo Yearbook?" And they go in and they find a page and they leave their mark, whether that's through stickers or photographs or drawings. And then I take scans and pictures of all the pages. I take photos of people as they're signing the book, candid moments from the farm. And then I turn it into an actual physical printed yearbook. And it has scans of all of the pages from everyone's contributions that they've added, as well as photos from around the farm. And then I also have some really fun things like superlatives, uh, interactive I Spy pages of all the candy people believe, like award for best candy gifted at the festival. And so it's an actual printed yearbook full of everyone's memories and moments. And it's just a really cool way to look back at Bonnaroo and have like a tangible physical book that you can go and see everyone's contributions in.
Well, let's back up just a touch here. Caleb, you reside currently in Atlanta. Am I right about
Yes.
that?
Yeah, I'm in Atlanta.
And let's back up just a quick look that I did yesterday. 5-6 years ago, this idea started to brew, but it wasn't at Bonnaroo, right? It didn't start at Bonnaroo. Talk about and Let's get the name out there too. What it's Festibox?
Yeah,
with
Festi
two
Books.
Festi
Yeah,
Books.
Festi Books. Yeah,
with two O's. Sorry, the spelling threw me off a little bit.
absolutely.
Jump back to the origins of it from
Sure,
5 or
I'll
6
go
years
through.
ago. That because and correct me if I'm wrong. This wasn't initially a Bonnaroo only idea, correct?
No, no. That's where the book came from. You kind of just saw the pitch of what it's turned into, but its origins actually start back with this. So I've been journaling since I was maybe 14 or 15. I when I maybe yeah 15. That's kind of when I started getting into smoking weed for the first time. And the way I justified it to myself was that I could do art and draw and write and put my thoughts down. And as long as I was making art with it, then it was like justified. That's how my
Yeah,
brain
it's
justified
okay
it.
to get high as long
Right?
as you're doing.
As long
you're
as
an
it's for the
artist.
art.
I like it.
So
I like it.
that was
Multitasking. You're
so I've been doing that
multitasking. I
since
like
I
it.
was maybe 14, 15. Just journaling, just writing in books. And I went to my first music festival in 2019. It was Coachella. That was my first ever music
It's a
festival.
hell of a place
and
to
it
start.
changed my life. Oh my gosh, I can't even express how fun it was. But something that I found surprisingly difficult was meeting people or just talking to people or introducing myself to people. And at the time, I just had a hard time people are decked out in beautiful costumes. They're having a good time. They're in big groups of people. And I wanted to participate in that, but I found it really challenging. So I had my journal with me because I just bring it everywhere all the time. It's just a habit of mine. And I decided, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to go up to random people. And it started out with people that I felt like weren't intimidating. So generally, like, it would be someone that was working at the festival, or it would be someone who maybe was just like kind of a little bit older, just sitting on their own, just looking at the scenery, someone that I wasn't necessarily intimidated by, but I just went up and I said, "Can you write something in my book?" And they'd be like, "For what?" I was like,
Yeah,
"Right?
no doubt.
I don't know. Do you want to,
Kind of
you just want to
random.
like,
Kind of
yeah,
weird.
do you want to draw it?" And it was super weird. It was super awkward. And it wasn't for any reason other than just like an icebreaker. It was just a way to kind of initiate conversation with someone. And it was intimidating. It was so intimidating going up to just a random person and asking them to write something random in a book. But eventually, after doing it about 5, 6, 7, 8 times, it started getting really fun because people would leave like cute little messages, or they would draw just a random doodle, or they'd be like, "Oh, this is kind of a fun idea." And I remember at a certain point, someone came up to me and said, "Oh, so it's like your yearbook." And I'm
Mm.
like, "Oh, that's
Ding, ding, ding,
genius.
ding.
Ding, 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 ding." That's
Yeah.
exactly what this is. It's a yearbook of all of
Yeah,
the
will you
people that I
sign my
met
yearbook?
at
Yeah,
the
that's great.
festival. And I was like, "This is genius. This is like, what a great idea. I would love to, next festival, like do that more." Cause I maybe got like 20 or 30 people to sign this book. And otherwise it's just my journal. And it wasn't like a dedicated project or anything. It was just a way to meet people. And so I said, okay, that's fun and all, but I'm going to make a challenge to myself. Next music festival, I'm going to bring a notebook and I'm going to make the goal to fill the entire notebook, like fill this whole thing with signatures. And that's going to force you to meet a bunch of people to try and fill all the pages. Cause I was like still a little intimidated of going up to people at this point. And so my next music festival was Lollapalooza. So I made the Lala yearbook, and I'll get you guys some video footage that you can put in of this later. But it's a little moleskin notebook about the size of an iPhone, I'd say. And I just went up to people during the entirety of Lollapalooza, and I filled the entire notebook. And I mean, there's not a single blank page in this
That's
whole
awesome.
thing. And I found that the community of these music festivals and going up and talking to the people was actually one of my favorite parts now. It was like it became so much fun going up to people and asking them if they wanted to sign a yearbook. Because once I changed it from, "Do you want to write something in my book?" to, "Do you want to sign the Lala yearbook?" people's energy completely changed. It was like, "Oh, I get to be a part of this like cool little yearbook, and you're gonna fill the whole book." Like, people on the first day are like, "No way, you're gonna fill the whole thing. Like, that's gonna take forever to fill up that thing." And it takes a long time to fill up a notebook with signatures. But I loved it. It was so much the adrenaline and, just the meeting someone for the first time became, like, a really fun experience, especially at music festivals where we naturally just share a lot of interests. So conversations just kinda came very naturally after that. And it was really, really fun. So I was like, "Okay."
I can see Brian. I got questions too. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I mean, the whole journaling
Love
thing
it.
is I don't want to call it new because it's not new, but it's certainly generational. I mean, it's Dear Diary to a certain degree in a new form, in a more art form, in a shareable way. Has journaling been part of what you've done? Maybe you already said this. Sorry, but before this, was journaling a mental exercise for you to begin with?
Yeah, journaling has always been a kind of form of means to why I'm like, I would mostly for when it started out, I would just only journal when I was high. That was it. They were like kind of my high journals, and it was my justification at the time. And then journaling kind of transitioned from that into it's just fun to draw and just write your thoughts and just leave something on something physical or write down cool things that happen. Cause then now I'm left with like all these notebooks of like a bunch of really cool, amazing art and drawings for myself and others over the past years. So
See,
I love journaling.
real quick, sorry, but the only reason I bring that up is because I've been getting more and more into the idea of it. I do a version of it. It's on a notepad, right? Like I have it in a backpack. I have a notepad. It's not in a cool looking book or anything, but we all have a notes app on our phone. We all have an iPad. We all have an electronic way to keep notes, and it's just not the same. Like it's not even close to the same thing. You'll change that phone 20 times in the next
Yeah.
30 years if you have
Yeah.
that long. You'll keep those books forever. I think it's a really cool just mental exercise and practice all the way around.
Yeah, that's a lot of
So
fun.
how did it change, Caleb? You said your first year, 2019, right?
Yeah,
You were very
2019.
shy. You were very shy about going up and approaching people. How did that change? I mean, like how did you pick people once you realized that they were into it, right?
Yeah.
That it wasn't. I'm asking, did it change? You weren't quite as shy. How did you choose who you approached? Um, yeah, that kind of
Yeah,
thing?
yeah.
How did that change?
So the switch moment, the where it like transitioned over was the group of people that I went with to Coachella. They had brought um some party favors, and that was my first time ever trying it before. And I think it was that paired with one of the like main people that I was there with at the time. She reacted in a very hermit mode way, and I reacted in a I want to go meet people, but I don't know how kind
Wait,
of a way.
what do you mean party favors?
You know
Um,
what he means.
Well, no, I
Come
want to
on,
be
Barry.
specific.
Something I had never done before at
Like
that point.
mushrooms or drugs.
Yeah, it was Molly. It was my first time ever
That's
trying
fine.
it.
I just want to.
And yeah, if you're curious as to what it was, that was it. But
I mean,
I
I'm
had
not
never
trying to
had it
get you in
before.
trouble. I just wanted to
Yes.
make sure it wasn't,
Yeah,
No, narc on
actually,
me.
Barry's a narc.
gonna need your
Um,
address and social
Yeah.
security number.
Well, if you order a yearbook, you'll get the return
No,
address.
but
So there you go.
I asked because that's key. I mean, that changes people's
That's
mindset.
That's true.
That's why.
And I think was definitely the ripcord that started that engine of like my urge or my desire to go and meet new people. And I was teaching photography in Dubai at that time, actually. So I flew from Dubai to LA to Coachella, and it was a whole big thing. And I mean, I went all out for it.
Hold on.
But
We'll continue. We'll come back to that.
yeah, we can come back to it. But so when I went out there and I had Molly for the first time, first music festival, my girlfriend at the time who I was with, she was just on lockdown mode. We had a bunch of friends with us in a big group of like 5 or 6. And so they decided to stay with her at whatever stage it was at. And then I just went off with my book and just was like, I want to meet down to talk to people. But to answer your other question of how did I choose who to talk to, it started off with like security guards and honestly older people who just didn't look intimidating. And I don't mean to like judge a book by its cover type of
No, this is why
situation,
I'm
but
asking because I mean
that's how it started.
I've walked around there with a camera, like
Mm.
looking for interesting things, and
Yeah.
it sounds
You see
it
it,
sounds
you notice
easy,
it.
but it's sometimes not.
Yeah.
But then it is. You when you start talking to somebody, you're like everybody has a story and everybody's interesting.
And there have been a few times where the interactions have gotten a little bit weird, or
I can
people like
imagine.
get overtly attached, and let's say they're on something and they fall in love with the project or the energy of what's going on in the
Yeah,
book.
I love you,
And
man. Stuff. Yeah.
yeah, you know what it is. So that was me in 2019, but I just didn't know how to do it because I was scared. So
That's why
that's
I'm
how the book
asking.
started, right? So
Love it. Okay.
that's how it got started. And then the Lollapalooza one where I filled this whole notebook, that was more of a personal challenge. That was like, hey, this is something that was obviously exciting at that time, and it was a lot of fun. I was like, I want to take it a step further and try and maybe meet people in my age range, or maybe if someone's, let's say, in a group of people all decked out in super amazing wave where normally I wouldn't go up and approach, but then I would turn it into like a challenge to try and get everyone to sign the book. So I'd come up and be like, all right, guys, who wants to sign the Lollapalooza yearbook?
Oh, no.
Ooh. And
Yeah.
go through the whole thing. And then sometimes it would be more personal. And like there would be two people sitting by a tree, and it's nighttime and it's kind of winding down a little bit. And I would just go up and I wouldn't say anything. And I would just hand them the book and a pen, not saying anything.
Just see what happens.
See what they do with it. See if they ask me any questions or
That's awesome.
anything, and just let them contribute. I've had people at 2 a.m. just sitting, writing their heart out like it's their own journal. In the 2023 Bonnaroo Yearbook, it was just amazing. Which leads me to Bonnaroo 2023. So, well, after Lollapalooza, I made an Instagram page with pictures of all of the pages, so anyone that signed it could see it. But I was like, I want there to be a physical version, which is when I started the concept of like, I'm gonna make an actual printed book of this, so that way, if people want to have a copy and flip through the pages, they can also see not only their own contribution, but also the contribution of everyone else from the festival. And that's when I started going like, oh, I want to make a book. I think that'd be really fun for my next festival, which happened to be Bonnaroo, which is the evolution of that.
Yeah, Brian, you'll remember, Russ. I think you've seen it, the fence going into the what stage where people would write stuff, right? That was
Yeah.
and they paint over that every year. So this is an actual
Yeah. I mean, it's like a book version of the wall.
exactly.
A little bit. So real quick though, I got to jump back to Dubai. First of all, this is where in the world is Caleb, right? Like we're in California, we're in Illinois, we're in Manchester, we're in Dubai. Let's jump back to that real quick. Teaching photography in Dubai. A few sentences on it. If you only had a minute to tell somebody what that's about,
Sure.
I'm just curious myself.
Yeah. So I'm a photographer by trade. That's my profession. That's what I do. So in 2018, I got the opportunity to go out and teach photography in Dubai. And one of the main reasons I did that is my dad's a photographer. He's been doing it for as long as I've been alive. And in ninth grade, I dropped out of high school to pursue photography. Or I guess in 10th grade, I dropped out. 10th grade, I dropped out to pursue photography. And when I was 18, I flew to Dubai for 3.5 years and was a photography instructor out there for a company called Gulf Photo Plus. Shout out to Gulf Photo Plus.
3.5 years. Wow.
But yeah, 3.5 years. And then I moved back in September of 2020. So a few months after the pandemic, I decided I want to go back to the States, let it go home. And then I flew back here and then,
started this journey. It sounds like for the most part.
started
Yeah. I
this
mean,
journey.
so it's taken you some time to, even though you've traveled pretty well and you've been around a lot of people, to get comfortable. And that's not unusual. I mean, we talked about this on the front end when we were before the show, the pre-show meeting. I was like, it's not a failure at life to not be good at easily communicating with other people. I mean, that's not like some horrible thing, but people have trouble with that. And this is a really cool way for you personally. So you start in Coachella, you move on to the Lollapalooza. So you've hit some of the big leagues, the big time here. What Bonnaroo gets on your, clearly you know what it is if you know what festival life is beginning to be in your life. What brings you to Bonnaroo other than we all want to go if we're a festival type?
Right.
How does this transition to now you're into, we're talking just a couple of years ago. How does Bonnaroo get into something that now it appears to be something that you're pretty passionate about?
Yeah, well, I was looking for festivals near me because I live in Atlanta, Georgia now. And I currently don't have the money to go crazy Coachella big trip and everything. So I was looking for festivals kind of closer to Atlanta. And I've always heard Bonnaroo is like the Coachella of the East Coast. And so I was like, oh, that sounds like fun. And the lineup for 2023 was great. I mean, I was just like, oh, this is going to be amazing. So I decided to kind of go all out. I got VIP. It was my first time ever buying VIP ticket to anything. And I also got the 6-day car camping. So I was there from Tuesday to, I guess, Monday when we leave.
Yeah, you and Taco are going to be new best friends.
Yeah, let's go.
That's the way to do it.
You got to go all the way out. And it was my first time ever solo camping. So I just only brought my car.
So first time you've been to the festival, you're just flying solo and you already have a little social anxiety. Wow. Good luck, buddy. Good luck.
Yeah.
Jumped right in.
I, prior to going to Bonnaroo, knew I wanted to do this book project, and I knew I wanted a way for people to get a copy of it. And so I had no idea how much it was going to cost. I had no idea how big the book was going to be because I had never done this before. So when I went to Bonnaroo for the first time and I was doing this, I was telling people to go to this website I had made where I had like pictures from other festivals that I had gone to. There was like no product photos because I mean there was nothing. It was like a
there was no
pre-order.
product.
Yeah, there was no product, right? So I had to.
You had the concept already.
I had the concept,
Let
but
me ask two
Yeah,
things. Let me
yeah.
jump in. So you had the concept, and I think Brian kind of touched on it a little bit. How have you changed since that first, shy guy didn't want to approach somebody? In that interim time, it sounds like you kind of got over it. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, big time, right?
Yeah, what
You
was
had
the
no
unlock? What was the
problem.
click there?
You
I
had no
think the
problem
unlock,
approaching people.
yeah, it was through just doing it a lot. I
Yeah.
think forcing yourself to, and not even forcing yourself, but just being curious and interested in other people. And there are so many people at the festival you walk by and you just go, man, I love their energy.
That guy's
And
got a story.
and
Everybody's got a story.
yeah, and you just
Yeah.
want to, and you just may want to talk to them, you may be shy, but the only way I found to get better at talking to people or introducing yourself to people is to just do it a lot. And the format of the book makes it really easy for anyone to just take a notebook, write down the festival name and year, and just walk up and ask if they want to sign their yearbook. And you even saw with Bonnaroo last year in 2024, they gave every one of the little promo things a little yearbook, encouraging people to go and make friends and use it as a way to meet people,
Mm,
which,
that's right.
no,
That's right.
I think maybe they
Yeah, I'm
saw
about to
it
say you
as
got a little
Yeah.
copyright infringement.
I did think it to one of the promo videos on their Instagram page, on Bonnaroo's official Instagram. Like the
Hey.
book was featured in
Hey.
it, which I thought was really cool.
Well, Bonnaroo is one of the most innovative
They
are.
entities
They
in
are.
in the world.
They're
But I
very
will say, after this podcast launched, guess what Bonnaroo did?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it. We'll leave that sitting.
No, they're very good at paying attention.
We'll leave that sitting right there.
Yeah.
So you're going into year number 3 then?
Yes, this will be
Yeah.
my third year doing the printed Bonnaroo Yearbook. And during the first one, which was really, really cool, I got Portugal the Man to sign it. I got Remy Wolf to sign it, which was really cool, which was happening because of someone who was signing the book at the time. Her friend
Right,
came up and was
right
like,
place, right time. Yeah.
yeah, we're
Yeah.
getting on the golf carts to go see Remy Wolf officiate a wedding. So I was like, okay, that's amazing. Let's but they were signing the book. So they were like, can you bring the book?
Come
And they were
on.
like, yeah, let's go.
Hop
So
in.
we
Yeah.
hop
Love
on
it.
to the golf cart. We get from Where in the Woods all the way transported to House of Matrimony inside Bonnaroo. And then all of a sudden, 15, 20 minutes later, there's a flood of people. Remy Wolf comes out. There's like a bunch of couples lined up. And I'm like, what the? This is incredible. So Remy Wolf officiates. She goes off to a little corner. And I'm like, oh, this is the perfect chance to get Remy Wolf to sign the yearbook. And I start walking over towards her. And would you believe it? Someone who had signed the book the day prior, she was like one of the coordinators for all of this. And she was like, oh my gosh, Caleb, hi, how are you? How's the yearbook going? And I was like,
Wow.
what
Yeah,
are the odds of this? Yeah,
I
like,
believe it because
At
that's what happens.
Bonnaroo, I believe it all day long.
That's
Yeah.
what
and
happens.
and she was like, oh my gosh, how's the yearbook going? I'm like, it's going great. I filled this many more pages since you last signed it. I was like, I'm actually trying to get Remy Wolf to sign the yearbook. And she was like, oh, Tom, yeah, he's good. And like gave like a little like nod to security over
go
to
on
Remy
in.
Wolf, and just
Yeah, I
like
love it.
they ushered me over, and I was like, oh my gosh, hi, Remy Wolf, nice to meet you. And I think I have a photo of it somewhere here. In this one, this was the first one I made. It's a 12 by 12, so it's a little bit bigger. But
Album size.
yeah, so, but there's a bunch of photos and stuff like that. So Remy Wolf is in here. Portugal is in here. Some
How did
pictures
you
of the
stumble
candy.
on the guys from Portugal the
facts.
Man? How did you stumble on the Portugal the Man band?
Yeah, so that was actually right before Remy Wolf. So Portugal the Man was at Where in the Woods, and he had just done his listening party. And I saw
Oh, that's right. They did
that-
do that.
there were a bunch of people. If you looked at the fence of where that like big UFO stage thing is at Where in the Woods, everyone was like in this little huddle over on the left side of the stage. And so I was like, oh, let me go check out what they're peeping at. And I walked over to like the very far right side, and I saw Portugal way down at the end, just signing stuff and talking to people. And I was wondering if he was going to come down over, but I was just like, nah, I got to go for it. So I just kind of made my way into the front of the fence. It's like, sorry guys, sorry. Portugal, would you like to sign the Bonnaroo Yearbook? And then got him to sign it, took a picture of him with it. Ching. I'll
That's
send you guys
awesome.
that photo
That's
too.
so funny. Think about the
And
transition,
yeah,
guys. I mean, this is a shy guy who wouldn't approach anybody to now all of a sudden he's paparazzi in it.
Getting waved
Yeah.
in by
yeah,
security.
all right,
Love
get
it.
right on the transition.
I
But
love
I
it.
found it opened up so many doorways. Just talking to like even security or event staff or people working, doing like spicy pies, even just asking them like, hey, do you have any
Yeah, it's the same
secret
with us.
knowledge
It's
or
the same with
is
us.
there
We've not
anything
had
else?
anyone say no. We've had
Yeah.
maybe one or two people say no.
Mhm.
Everybody likes talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, you're already in a place where people are pretty open to just about anything. So if you've got any kind of drive or motivation, like you clearly have built these years, that I can see how that works out to the level it has. When did you get to where you wanted to make it more of a not just a signature? You wanted some pictures.
Yeah,
You
book. I
wanted.
mean, that's a big leap. That's
Yeah,
my question.
I love the superlatives too. I didn't even.
Yeah.
I was.
We
I
got best
forgot what that
drawing, best
even meant.
handwriting,
Yeah.
best
So
signature
what
we
were
have
you,
in there.
Brian? Most likely to what?
I don't
Bitch?
think I
Most
made the
likely to
superlative.
bitch?
Yeah, probably most likely to drop out.
Complain?
Yeah, but when did you want to make it more visual? Was that all part? Was that part of it from the jump, or did that come later?
I think part of it came with time. So when I first started with the Lollapalooza and building this one out, the only pen I had was just like a Micron '08 pen. And so it was like basically all black and white. And I'll be honest, the community of Bonnaroo is unlike any other music festival I've been to. I've been to Coachella, I've been to Lollapalooza, Shaky Knees, I've been to East Midtown, a bunch of other smaller festivals here in Georgia. And the community of Bonnaroo is just something genuinely so special. I mean, the people there are so full of trinkets and gifts and beautiful ideas. And so just going to Bonnaroo, the amount of stickers I got in the first book was like, oh my gosh, I think I even have it in here in this fun facts page, how many stickers were placed. And let's see here. Let's go fun facts. So total signature count, 1,074 legible signatures. Most frequent names were David and Jack, which each appeared 6 times.
So you even have the whole thing cited and everything in the back, huh?
I have all the names alphabetized.
Oh my god!
So every
Wow.
single name
Awesome.
that I could make out. The
so
sticker
cool.
count, the first book was 65 stickers were placed in the first book. And then the sticker count in the second book, let's see if we go to our fun facts page here. Let's see. We had way more stickers this year.
I love this.
We were fully
It's
decked
a
out
hell
with
of a passion
stickers.
project,
I
man.
love this.
Yeah. Oh, I made the Bonnaroo logo out of candy. That was
there
really
you go.
fun.
That's pretty neat.
Nice. Yeah, we
So,
had
really
candy in our
enjoyed that.
mailbox. We had candy and
Yeah.
a cigarette.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Here's the fun fact page and the list of all of the names over here, alphabetized as well. Total pages 242 pages. 6 Polaroids added. 154 stickers placed. I took a total on my camera of 1,190 images. 1,011 unique contributions. 328 trinkets gifted. And those trinkets that were gifted were all completely photographed. Every single trinket, it's upside down. Every single trinket was photographed that was given to us, which is really fun to
That's
go
so
through and
cool.
explore. But yeah, so it's more than just the scans of the pages and pictures of the people. It's also stuff that would maybe be akin to an actual yearbook, or at least as much of a yearbook as it can be in Bonnaroo terms.
Yeah.
And then I have someone had a good idea of putting the lineup on the back of it, which I thought was really cool. So that's really fun. But yeah, so this is the first one, and then this was last year's 2023, and then 2024 I'm planning on doing it again. But I've learned a lot from both of these years, and I think next one's going to be the best one I've made so far.
We should have given
every
you
year will continue.
should have given you a heads up with this question, but I'm guessing you've been asked before. What are the memorable stories? What are the ones
Um,
that stand out?
from last year in particular, I got to meet I Am Bonnaroo, David Bruce from I Am Bonnaroo,
I have it on my
and
list to get to it. Go ahead.
Yeah.
yeah,
Love me some David Bruce.
Yeah,
yeah,
Dave.
David Bruce. I found out about his work the first year I went to Bonnaroo, and I was like, "Oh no, he's already doing the yearbook! Like I'm too late. The Bonnaroo yearbook project's already taken up." But his was different. He was shooting
Yeah,
everything on film and
very
posting
different.
Very
stories.
different.
And I love his work. And the first year I was trying to find him, or I was gonna go and find him, but something happened and I ended up not seeing him. But I messaged him on Instagram after Bonnaroo was over. He was like, "Come find me next year." And so I was planning on going to see him, but I was at Where in the Woods. I think it was honestly like Wednesday night. So the festival hadn't even started yet. And someone signed the yearbook and they were like, "Have you met David?" And I was like, "Who's David?" And he was like, "I Am Bonnaroo." And I was like, "No." He was like, "Wait right here." He runs off to like towards the stage at Where in the Woods, comes back with David Bruce, someone who I've been trying to meet for like over a year at this point. And he's just like right there. I'm like, "Well, hi, nice to meet you."
Yeah,
That's
And
cool.
so I got him to sign it. And then I just talked to him about the project a little bit, gave him the elevator pitch of what it was and what I was doing. And I got some high praise from him and ended up messaging him on Instagram and was like, "Hey, I would love to feature some of your work in the Bonnaroo yearbook. I think it'd be really cool if I could get some photos of yours to add to the book. And of course, write a little blurb about you if you're okay with that." And he said yes, which is really cool. So I actually have right in here,
Yeah,
there's a
our
little
guy
featured
Evan
page.
Evan Bonnaroo is I noticed in your gallery.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
nice.
I have a little page about him, kind
Oh,
of
there we
what he
go.
does and what he represents and everything, and some of his photography. And his photography is just amazing.
I think I
And
heard
so
from
there's
him yesterday or the day before. Yeah,
some really
he's
cool,
so cool. That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, I guess for those that don't know, Dave's I mean, it's all about the people, right? I mean, he shoots the shows too for fun, but his main thing is looking at
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's kind of what you're like you said. He kind of doing a similar idea of what you were doing. I see
Yep.
why you at first were like, shucks, but yeah, it's a different concept, and there's
It
room
is a
there's
different
room for everybody to play in
Yeah.
this
There it is.
creative
Of course.
space.
Of
There
course.
it is. That
Yeah.
that to me,
It's not a competition.
That's the thing about this festival. There's so many different things, avenue, whatever. I mean, you got this thing. I Am Bonnaroo. David has his thing. We have this podcast now going on 8 years.
Yeah.
So cool. I'm
It's
trying to get like
amazing,
you
isn't it?
guys.
Huh?
Yeah.
I'm trying to
But-
get like you guys go 8 years.
It takes
Yeah.
20 years sometimes, but it's
That is
well
so
worth it.
cool.
It's a ton of fun. So, what about you? Is this going to be a yearly thing for you with Bonnaroo? Because it didn't start here, but it looks like it's kind of settling here. And I don't mean settle in the word like because you don't want to get bigger and better. It just means it feels like you've found a place where this might be where you can utilize it the best.
Yeah, and the thing with Bonnaroo is I want to make it my home base for this project because I'll be honest, I love attending music festivals also, and I'm completely funding every single aspect and doing every single aspect of this book, from the photographing the pages with sparkly glitter pens and reflective stickers and trying to figure out how that all works, to concepting and designing and putting all the images in. I mean, it's a big undertaking and takes up
Yeah.
festival time that I could just be going around, watching shows. But I really do enjoy the process, and I think it's a lot of fun. And I think the ability for people to contribute to a shared artwork and then be able to see it in print, I think it's just so cool. Just it's so worth the effort that goes into it.
Along those lines, where did the book? I mean, had you done? I know you said somebody said, "Oh, it's like a yearbook," and you went ding, ding, ding. But had you done books before? Have you? I mean,
No, I have
Is it a-
no experience.
is it about the book for you, or is it about the process?
It's both. At this point, I think I'm trying to refine my skills at making the printed book and just try and make the best actual finished product as I can, because I think as I start to think about this concept more, it'd be really fun to have festivals either, pay for me to come to the festival and do this project, or uh, be able to at least help pay for my ticket, and how expensive Bonnaroo can be, just all the things you need, and
Yeah.
blah blah blah.
I mean, I see
So-
what you're doing. I see what you're doing here a little bit, and
Yeah.
I do the exact same thing, and I have for
That's
years.
why I
Yeah.
asked.
Yeah, you find an there's no shame in that at all, especially if you're doing something you believe in, which clearly you are. So,
Yeah, I
but
definitely love the process. Love the process.
Does Bonnaroo, do you see it being on your June calendar going forward for the foreseeable future?
My brother, I already bought tickets. Me and
There
my
you
girlfriend
go.
are going VIP. So
All
we bought it
right.
as soon
Oh,
as
yeah.
those dropped. We got the earliest possible. We're
So
like, we're
you're
going no
hooked,
matter
man.
what.
You're hooked.
Yeah, I'm
I
hooked.
love it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
of course. I'm obsessed with Bonnaroo now at this point. So
All right, Russ.
it'd be hard not to
ask.
go.
I know Russ has the question. Go ahead. How do we
I
get
don't
it?
have-
Yeah, you do. You're always the one that like. How do we get
Is
it?
there
How
a
do we get it?
dedicated PBR page? in
How do we
there?
find your book?
Yes. So if you go to festibooks.com or Bonnaroo Yearbook.com, you can go to either one at FESTIBOOX.com. And I also made a special promo discount code ahead of time for you guys. So if you're listening to this right now,
Hey, all right.
the What Podcast gets you 50% off the book.
Look at this guy.
I
Wow,
love
okay.
it. I love
Just
it.
wanted to give that to you guys.
Look at it. I'll apologize now for what you don't know. We're not sure if we want this guy on or not. We don't know if this is going to work out or not.
Yeah, one thing I said to Brian is, I don't want to be this guy's marketing, but I love it. I love
That
this
is great,
idea,
man. Good
This
move.
is
Good
so
work.
cool.
Good work
Yeah.
there.
So I just wanted to do a little bit of that. So thanks for-
5-0 too. You said 5-0, 50%.
5-0.
Look
Yeah,
at that.
well, I'll be really transparent actually, and let you guys in on kind of just what like the operating costs of getting the book printed.
Sure.
So the design software that I use, it only lets me use one publisher, which is Blurb. Now it's like the easiest design book software ever. I mean, a monkey could use it, me, aka. It's like the only thing I could really get my head around for making the book. But I ordered 50 books and it came out to like $70 per book, which was like around $3,000. And I sold, I think this year, like 30 something copies. So
Not
I
a
still
bad
have like,
start, yeah.
I have like 20 copies left that I'm just kind of sitting on. And the thing about it is it's limited edition. So it's only ever going to be printed ever 150 times. So that was kind of where I put it for marketing. I did, if you were signing the yearbook, it was on pre-sale for $69.99 plus
So,
$10
at cost.
shipping.
Yeah,
So
at
it's like
cost.
at cost
Mhm.
completely. And even I did $10 for shipping, but like it costs like $12 to $15 to ship it per
Yeah,
thing. So
yeah.
I basically have lost money still on this. But the caveat is after the pre-sale ends, I put it up to 200. So hopefully any copies will at least get me back to net zero. But
Yeah.
for the What Podcast, if you love Bonnaroo, if you're about the project, I cut in half, so it's $100. But it's limited edition and it's super cool. It's got a bunch of really high res photography. Doing photography for 10 euros. So
Do this for me. You answered my question, which was, something memorable, and David Bruce certainly. But grab one of the books and just open it up and read.
sure.
Good call.
I really want to hear
Yeah, I'll get the
some of
original book
people,
out. There was one that like basically made me cry. Hopefully I'm not gonna cry right here
Yeah, I mean, I
on,
can only imagine what people wrote.
on here.
Yeah, if you get them at the right
Um,
time or the wrong time, you never know what
Right.
you're going to get.
Mhm.
And that could be a fascinating exercise itself, whether you're looking for, I mean, some people are just going to want to see their name, right? They're going to want to go back and relive their memory.
Yeah, I mean,
and then some people are going to want to relive others or learn others.
If I opened my high school yearbook, it'd be like, never change.
Stay cool.
Stay cool, never change.
I mean, here's just like a couple. Here's a couple examples of some like just some sweet messages. So, the universe is beyond thankful that you exist, Meg Han. I'm so happy you're here to read this. I love you, and you are doing so well. I'm proud of you, and everything you do. There's no
And these
one
are
like
people you do not know, right?
These are all-
just randoms.
This entire
all randoms.
book
Random.
is completely filled out,
It's the most popular
just
guy
random
in the
people.
South.
right? And there's this one, I don't remember exactly. I should have.
Yeah, I
Bookmark
know.
specific
We
sweet
should have asked you
message.
ahead of time to.
It's okay. There was
Bookmark.
one oh here we go.
I don't
found
really
it, found
care.
it.
Just
I found it.
open one and
No,
read
here
it.
we go. Okay. Dad, you would have loved Rue. It's my first time taking Lil Sis. I know you're here with us, Kate Dillon. And when I read that
There you
for
go.
the first time, like sitting in my car at the end of the day after like going around getting hundreds of signatures from people, just reading that was just like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, oh,
I got a little verklempt right then just
you
now.
know, it's just like crazy. Cheers
It's
to
always
my first Rue. My
it's usually
favorite
on
people
Father's Day
ever.
weekend too.
We got engaged on the farm, Haley and Beth 2024. Let's see. This radiate positivity sticker. Someone here wrote this phrase, parentheses, and place that changed my perspective on life. Radiate positivity, spread love, show love. Tiffany at Olive Moon Botanicals. You are loved and treasured. Keep spreading your light. Year 7 and 3 here. I fell in love on the farm. There was a really cool page about vultures and like talking about how vultures don't actually spread disease. And it was like a kind of PSA about vultures and like save the vultures. I thought that was really cool.
Speaking of MDMA, right?
That'd be
You
that
know?
2 a.m.
But then there's, also just like really random funny stuff, like someone just wrote squirting contest. There's like a whole range of various legible, illegible.
Oh, I bet there's some ridiculousness. Yeah.
There was this guy, Flowaway 10K, who made these like Polaroid Pokemon stickers.
Yep.
So they almost look like trading
which was
cards, but yeah,
yeah.
stickers.
Yeah.
And they're all individual stickers here, which was really cool. But his whole project was giving away 10,000 Polaroids, which I thought was really cool. But there's just so many fun, intricate little. There's like a whole page about jellyfish, pretty much baby's first brew. I don't know if this is all completely backwards to the camera, but
We can
No,
see
we
it.
got it.
Good.
Yeah.
okay. But
That's so cool.
it's so full. And
I mean, if only
so
it were a keepsake for you, right? If that was the
Right.
only thing that
Right.
it was, that's pretty damn cool.
like it's so
Right.
great. Here, like for example, this page right here. Right, this one reads, "This is Sultry Kitty. Sultry Kitty has a quest for you. Show plur wherever you may go. Show compassion and be kind to all kinds." I was just like, "That's cool." So I said, I wrote back in the book, and I said, "Thank you, Sultry Kitty, for your plur quest. I will not fail."
Sultry Kitty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Time is the only real currency. What better way to spend it than at woo? And then like a really cute little clock. But I mean, you could just go through for so long. Like printer ink is an aphrodisiac. Like what? Who brought that to the fest? You know what I mean? Like there's so many stickers in here. They're so good. Oh,
Printer ink is an aphrodisiac.
yeah.
What the hell?
Then my
Great.
brother, I brought my brother Joshua actually with me last year too, and it was his first time ever at a music festival ever. So that was really cool. Get to bring him in. He put this one in, and then someone put this one in like
That's
a couple
great.
days later, and so that became the Bookies page.
Nice.
Your brand
But I
hasn't
mean-
made it if you haven't become a dead Steely at some point.
I mean, it's just so cool the stuff
really
people
neat.
put in. And sometimes I would like leave the book with someone and they would just like go to town for, 30 minutes just writing stuff, or people would write a little something
Drawing.
and then go on. And the interactions last anywhere from like a couple minutes to like close to an hour sometimes. And it's just so fun to meet the community, hear people's stories, and then at the end just go through and just look at it. I mean, it's just like, we got the SpongeBob page, the crazy SpongeBobs. There's just so much
Yeah,
in
I
here.
like it.
and it's just great. And so I'm really excited to be able to share it and talk about it. And if you see me and my girlfriend who will be walking around the farm. I'll probably be wearing something similar to this.
I like your Boy Scout looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
vest.
gonna
You know, I
point out
got-
your your
There
roof
it is.
vest.
Got the whole thing. I got the shorts on.
Oh my God, this guy! Look at
So-
this guy.
I'll probably be wearing a matching outfit of varying patterns, but something along these lines
I love
is
it.
what you can expect to see.
I love it.
Big
All right.
difference from the shy guy that didn't know how to talk to anyone.
Yeah,
and
no
big-
shit.
Yeah,
Very big difference.
Good
Yeah,
work.
it just takes doing it
yeah.
thousands of times. You get really good at it. Turns out it's just like a muscle. You know, you need to practice
Yeah.
and just get out of your comfort zone and just talk to the people that you're energetically drawn towards, and you have no idea what doors will open from that. And
You
that's
know,
actually
you-
how I met my current girlfriend, was through the rave scene, just going up and talking to people, not with the intention of dating, but just to meet people. And yeah, so I think it's a great skill, and it's really fun at festivals. It's really easy to go in with a book, write the name of the festival, the year, and just say, hey, do you want to sign my yearbook? And see what goes from there.
Last one for me, real quick. Do you have any ideas to put people on the ground in other cities to do another Coachella? I mean, you can't probably run off to Coachella every year, or like a coalition of any kind, or a one-man band at this point.
It's currently one-man band. I've been teetering back and forth on the concept of whether I want to get like a full team and actually make this like a full-on business and like
And it's-
go the full route,
Big-
or if I just want to kind of
big
keep
step.
it what it is, you know, which is just me at a music festival going around getting signatures and making a cool one-off book if you want to copy of it, you know. So it's been a lot of fun.
Well, from my perspective, we are doing exactly what you're doing. That's why that we started this.
Yeah.
I just like talking to people about Bonnaroo. We figured out everyone that we know is talking about Bonnaroo year round, and
So let's do it.
You're doing exactly what we're doing, just in a different way. I love it. That's awesome.
Hey, Caleb, thanks so much for jumping on. I guess if you want to throw out just way people can get a hold of you, the little mini call to action here on the way out, if you want to do that.
Yeah, sure. My personal Instagram, if you want to reach out to me directly, is at Carias, Carias. The project is at Festibooks on Instagram, and the website is festibooks.com. Or you can go to BonnarooYearbook.com as well. And also, if you put in code the What Podcast at checkout, you can get 50% off if you want to get.
This guy's got it all taken
Yeah.
care of on the
Love
day
it.
of,
Exactly
man.
it.
Caleb, dude, really appreciate it. All of it coming on the last minute, being ready, being prepared, and having it together for us. What a cool project you got going. We wish you all the luck.
Thank you so much for letting me share.
Love
I
it.
really appreciate it. And
Yeah.
I will see y'all on the farm
See you in
Yeah,
June.
this year.
let's
yeah.
meet up.
Yeah,
Let's
no,
sign the
I
book.
want in that book,
I
damn
want
it.
in
Yeah,
I
you gotta
want
get
it.
in the book.
I
Yeah,
want
I'm
in
gonna
that
find
book.
you. I'm gonna find you. I'll be probably posting either in the Reddit or on my socials somewhere, places to meet up as we get closer to the date.
We'll make it
but
happen
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah,
We'll make it happen.
excellent.
Would love to. Love to.
Thanks, man.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so I mean, what do you say about this? Guys, I keep being surprised by this festival.
Me too, and it seems like I could say, why, Barry? And you could say, somebody could be like, why are you surprised? You've been doing this. It's just because it's just the fun and innovation of people's minds at this festival. The creativity unlocks the imagination that people know they have deep down that sometimes has to be just beat out of them sometimes. It happens there all the time and is usually on accident. And that's what makes it so amazing to me. So, yeah, I'm always surprised. You shouldn't be, Brian. No, I am. I still am, too.
Very much. And I was glad to hear him bring up David Bruce, because I could tell all three of us are thinking, this is a lot like I Am Bonnaroo. And then he brings it up. And again,
Yeah, I cheated because I saw his photo gallery last night, and I was like, "Hey, there's our guy I Am Bonnaroo." So we'll probably go down that road. And he brought it up, and his excitement to meet, I know Bruce is loving it, and he should, because he does great work and he deserves it. So how cool is that? The degrees of
there
separation
it is. Yeah.
always are just like,
Yes.
really? Is it just that? It's that close, huh? That's pretty cool.
It is
Speaking
and
of
it
David
isn't.
Bruce,
That's what
yeah. We should probably get him on back at some point. Have him back on the show. Catch up.
Yeah, I am Bonnaroo for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, David's story, if you don't know, if you're new to this show, look up I Am Bonnaroo. His story is just like Caleb's, it's just like ours. You know, just go to this thing and fall in love and have a sparkle, you know, or whatever of an idea, and then it becomes
Turn
this
it into
thing.
something.
And the Bonnaroo people are quick to jump on it and help in any way they can, and the fans love it, and
Yeah, if you've got an idea and it's not just some throwaway I'm stoned and drunk in the middle of the night idea. You got a real idea and you really push it and you put a lot of energy and effort into it. Somebody at Bonnaroo is going to notice.
Yeah.
They pay attention to all the adjunctive ancillary things going on. We've got to know some people early on through the industry. Most of those people from in my circles, they're long gone. And the handful there's a couple still skeleton types, but the rest are people that I still have to remake. Who are you again?
Yep.
I could be like, well, I've been doing this for 20 years. And like, okay, well, you can do. You want to keep doing it? If you just have a great attitude and continue to do what you're doing, Bonnaroo themselves will notice because they pay attention.
Absolutely. That was a lot of fun, and to say I don't know when you actually first heard from Caleb, Brian, but I mean
20 hours ago.
That's what what a great find. That was awesome. So very cool.
So we need a question for next week, and we're still getting your entries for our ticket
Still getting
giveaway.
entries, yeah.
And thank you so much for all that, and we'll be dragging that out as long as they'll let us. Honestly,
yeah, we do need to find an endpoint for this.
Yeah, we'll get there. We still got a long way to go. It'll go fast, but we still have a long way to go. We got a new question. Let's get that after we go ahead and revisit what we've got from Taco. How about that?
Yeah, Russ, you've got some entries
got a
already.
couple-
What was the question last week? Is it? I've already forgotten.
Just make it up. Make one up.
Well, we just piggybacked off Brian's
20
assertion that the 2025
Oh.
lineup is as good, if not better, than 2020. And so we got some answers to that. I think I'll go ahead and play one now. This is from Lena.
Hello, friends at the Wet Podcast. My name is Lena, and I unfortunately do not have any awesome Bonnaroo decor behind me because I'm in a temporary college apartment, but I did hang up my flip turn memorabilia collection, and I'm
Nice.
very excited that they will be on the farm, as I talked about in my voicemail a couple weeks ago. I'm coming down here because I have both lineups pulled up next to each other, and I'm going to take the unpopular opinion here that I do think the 2025 lineup beats the 2020 lineup for a few reasons. It was hard for me to say this because I absolutely love that this lineup has Tame Impala, Lana Del Rey, and Miley Cyrus. And we all know that everyone has been wanting Miley Cyrus at the farm for a very long time, as well as Tame Impala. And the fact that Lana Del Rey is not even the headliner for that day is pretty incredible. I also am a huge Lost Animals girl, but we get them this year, so that's great. But this 2025 lineup, I think, has a lot of special features that's going to put it ahead of 2020. First of all, the fact that this King Gizzard residency is just hidden up in the corner over here is crazy. You can miss it if you didn't look close enough. And I only know a few of their songs, but I'm very excited to experience that live. I think it's going to be amazing. We also have some amazing headliners, multiple very big names in every line that aren't even considered the main headliner. On Thursday, I think this is another thing that really puts 2025 ahead, is that Thursday is becoming a mainstream day. And we all know that real Bonnaroovians are going to come on Thursday anyways. Sorry, not real Bonnaroovians. That was a little aggressive. Everyone's welcome at Bonnaroo. But if you're a big Bonnaroo person, you're going to come on Thursday anyways. But I think it's amazing that they're pushing for these bigger artists on Thursday. And I'm also very excited for the Infinity stage. And the undercard is just fantastic on this lineup. And of course, flip turns on it. I'm going to keep bringing them up. So yeah, that's my opinion. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Wow. What a great, that's exactly what I'm talking about right there, as far as, just something to come and have fun with. And I don't think it's that outlandishly crazy and hot take-ish to say that this one is a little bit better, and she agrees, and I love that she does. It might
she
be
brought a
simple,
PowerPoint presentation to show it
I
off.
love everything about that.
that Thursday is so strong, and Thursday just didn't used to be, and now it is, and so that's for me.
She came with points.
Very good work. Thank you very much.
Great job. That was awesome.
What else?
I got one more video. This is from Andrea. This is from a couple weeks back. We can play this one here real quick.
All right, Andrea.
When the first thing I heard about this year's lineup was that Justice was going to be performing, I already knew that I didn't know what to expect. Bonnaroo has outdone themselves this year, in my opinion. There is an undercard 3 to 4 deep that is just insane and impressive, let alone the headliners. Not all of them are my cup of tea, but that's part of Bonnaroo, is getting to learn what other artists are there that you like. But with Hozier closing out, we've got Dom Dalla, Glass Animals, Foster the People, Marina, Tape B. I mean, it's just unreal. Queens of the Stone Age are going to be there. King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. Love it. It's just going to be an incredible year. So I can't wait. Looking forward to it.
Awesome.
Very cool.
That's so cool.
Very cool. We all agree it's a good lineup.
Oh,
we
yeah.
all agree. I don't mean us three. Just I ain't heard a person. But
Well, there was that one guy.
Oh well, the one guy. Yeah, I forgot the one guy.
Oh, yeah.
Worst lineup ever.
Worst lineup ever.
Sounds like me 15 years ago.
So
Well,
the-
everybody else likes it.
The point of this is we've got 2 tickets plus camping to give away, and we're asking a different question every week. Shameless, just because we're trying to get activity, and plus we want to hear from everybody.
And it's
'cause That
fun.
was cool. I love
Yeah,
those.
I love that too. That was both very good jobs there. And at the end of the day, what we will it will be just kind of pick one out.
Yeah,
But
we'll
we are
figure
going to go through everything. We talked about this a few weeks back. I mean, these are submissions we're going to see, and we're going to go through them. And so,
Starting to think, in addition to the 2 tickets, we need to maybe come up with some other prizes for people.
I'm running out of my
Oh,
cool
yeah.
swag over these years.
We need. I've had a couple of people ask for T-shirts. We need to get some.
we
more
can come up
merch,
with-
So
we
we
can-
need to come up with stuff like that, and I'd love to send something to everybody, because it's really.
Hell, maybe
cool.
we can get with Caleb and throw a Bonnaroo Yearbook in or
There-
something.
ooh,
Maybe.
that's a
How
good
about that?
idea right there.
Just popped into my head. How about that for idea guy?
That's my man right there. That brain doesn't ever shut down. It never
No,
stops.
it's not necessarily churning out good info,
I
but
like it.
so what about our question this
So
week?
this
Gary, you had it this
question,
week.
and it may be next week. I will ask you two, because we've running long, but it occurred
Spend
to
some
me.
time on it.
I would love to know which shows you would like to do over. Which Bonnaroo set that you attended do you wish you could do over?
I love this
Man,
question.
this
I
is a good
love it,
question.
and I do want some time to sit on it for
Yeah.
us. So we will revisit this for us next week. Please bring us some of that, and we'll include it in the next week's show, because I think this is an incredibly simple yet effective
Yeah.
question, because boy, I could do this one for a while.
I will give an example. Beastie Boys. I was just not in the right headspace, and I would give almost anything to be able to revisit that show.
Well, knowing what I know now, yes.
Yeah.
And I would redo that show because I wasn't there at all.
I was
So-
there, and it wasn't like a bad attitude. I just was not in the right headspace, and
It happens.
now that I've, anyway. So I'm sure we all have them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I will work on this list, and I'll start it this big, and I'll work it down for brevity for the show. I love the question, and would love to have y'all's feedback and interaction when we do this next week. Maybe we'll make a whole segment out of it.
Exactly. All
Yeah,
right.
please do. Go to thewhatpodcast.com. It's got all the ways you can enter. We are accepting voicemails, emails, faxes.
Yeah,
And
in
then
fact,
can
you want to
also-
bang out something on words only, we can do that too.
Yeah, we can do
the,
that.
The video and stuff, that's clearly for what we do on the YouTube platform. It's fun when that happens, but we know everybody can't necessarily do that. So whatever you got, we'll take it.
Yes.
We have other news. Russ, you went out of town. You had a meetup. Tell us about your trip to Nashville.
Yeah, this week we record this on Sunday mornings, and they come out Wednesdays. But last week, after we got done hanging up with this show, I hopped in the car and went to Nashville and made it back to East Nashville for the Totem meetup. And
Yeah,
was
that
put on-
math on time looked like that you were crunched. Did you make it? Did you make
I
it
made
on time?
Yes, made it. It worked out perfectly. Got everything all set up, and it was back at Rosemary Beauty Queen, which is where Bonnaroo did their little meetup thing a few months ago. It was much colder this time. We weren't outdoors; we were indoors, thankfully. But Daniel and Charla, they put on that thing with the Totem board, and Shayna came down all the way from Indiana. So overall, there was probably about 20 or so people. They gave a little presentation, just kind of the state of Totem and how they've done over the past year, what they're planning to do next year. If you don't know, this is a nonprofit they started to help enable people that might not necessarily get to go to Bonnaroo to actually attend. They have a program where they partner up mentors and mentees. If you've never been and you don't know what to do, they can get you set up with somebody that can kind of walk you through it. They're working on a scholarship program. They've got people picked out for that, and their long-term goal is they want to do a international cultural exchange. They want to reach out to maybe a group from Haiti that plays music, bring them to the farm and actually get to kind of experience that.
Yeah, it's not just. I've been involved with it, been on the board since the start. It's not just like giving people who maybe can't afford tickets. That's not the idea. It's more about
a little more educational, maybe. Is that the right way to put
more
it?
about getting people who can then take what and grow it, become like us, become regular goers, and not just for Bonnaroo but other festivals,
And
so,
pay it back and pay it
back.
forward kind of
Yes,
thing.
Exactly.
yeah, they're looking to spread it forward for sure.
Exactly. So it's a big deal. But,
Yeah, the pictures look good. You guys, from the Instagram view, it looked like you guys had a big time in East Nashville. And East Nashville is one of the coolest communities you're going to spend time at in the entire state of Tennessee.
Yeah, super fun. After the little presentation, we walked down the street, which was probably dumb because it was like 18 degrees.
Yeah, we've been
But we walked to
killed with cold here
Oh,
recently.
it was awful. Yeah, walked to a little taco place and had dinner there. So it was good catching up with everybody. I did meet Amy, who, remember last week, she sent us a voice memo of some recommendations, including what was it, Joey Valance, the one that she described as Gen Z Beastie Boys.
Oh, right.
Oh,
right.
that's right.
Yeah.
Gen Z Beastie Boys.
Right.
Speaking of the Beastie Boys.
And I looked them up, and that's exactly on point, and it looks super fun. So that's on my list of shows now. I don't know how deep in the lineup y'all have gotten.
I haven't even started yet, and I kind of am waiting for when we do our kind of jumping off Discovery episode. Whenever we decide to do it, we have time. And
Sure.
I'm going to see Billy Strings in a month, so I've been catching up with some Billy, but I'm gonna dive into that, but I have not yet, and I'm looking forward to it.
Cool. Speaking of artists, I want to mention too. Flip Turn just released their second album just this week, and it's really
they
good.
are going places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They played Kimmel the other night. I think they're making the whole late night talk show circuit. They look even more the part than they did just
So
2 or
fun.
3 years ago. The last time we talked to them, and I mean they've been dabbling in everything: video games, music. And maybe they're getting the music
Yeah,
towards
they've been doing that.
maybe even like jingles, commercials. I'm not sure about that yet, but that would tend to maybe lead that way. They're going places, and that's cool because it's fun music. It's good stuff.
Well, along those lines, just to tease a little bit, when we do, maybe not the deep dive, but we're going to have a special guest, our own Brad Steiner. We're going to have him back on to talk about, he'll give us his picks.
Brad's gonna
At some point.
he's gonna grace us with his
Yeah.
valuable time.
So that will either please some people or piss off some people. But we're gonna have Brad back on. But
That's
we
why I
need the
love him.
Commanders to lose first because he can't focus. He can't think any outside of except NFL
He
football, right?
has beat me into the corner about dragging me to Mets games and convincing me that to stop hating the Mets because I'm a big Braves fan. For anybody that didn't know, and he's converted me to a not hatred of the Mets. I can't do this for every one of his teams. I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, by the time you hear this, the Super Bowl will be set. So I'm sorry about this.
Right.
I hope it's not Washington.
Anyway, so that's coming up. So, all right.
I look forward to that a lot.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.